Welcome to Centerstage here on Crick Buzz. What a great few days we've had of cricket over here in Perth at the Wacker. India, first of all, Lisa, the latest game first, 18-run victory over Bangladesh, but it was a pretty exciting game, wasn't it?
It was, because Bangladesh had India in a little bit of trouble, but unfortunately for Bangladesh, their fielding let them down. A few missed opportunities, balls going through legs for boundaries. They weren't able to build up pressure, and right at the end, India were able to kind of explode at the back end to get them to the 140 mark.
Well, what about India at the start? Because we did see, talk about the future looking bright, seeing Shafali Verma and Jemima Rodrigues, especially Verma. I mean, she's 16. Can we just point out and remind everyone, she's only just turned 16. She was playing shots that no 16-year-old has the right to play.
Yeah, 4 sixes here at the Wacker, and it wasn't just over the boundary rope. It was clearing the signage and it was going into the stands. She is such a powerful player. You know, she comes from Haryana, where, you know, a lot of weightlifters, so there's almost like the genes are going really good. So I can't wait to see what she looks like in another 5-6 years' time. But given the fact that Smriti Mandhana was not available for selection due to a viral illness, it was going to be interesting to see how the youngster was going to cope, and she absolutely loved the importance that she put on her wicket, and she showed that because she played again fearless cricket.
She sure did. Someone else who is just shaping up to be one of the players of the tournament, Poonam Yadav, was out there again. Another 3 wickets. She's taken 7 wickets all up. I think at an average of a tick over
Ridiculous.
5. Absolutely ridiculous. But she really pulled it back for India at a time when Bangladesh looked like they were getting a bit close.
Yeah, the chase wasn't too bad by Bangladesh. They probably halted a little bit in the middle, and then they tried to explode at the back end. And they weren't that far away. They just needed one big over. But again, Poonam Yadav, Harmanpreet Co always throws her the ball. Goes, I know you can do the job for me, and she does. You know, commentators keep saying you can have a cup of tea by the time the ball comes down. But there's something to it. She's smart. Everyone else is going quicker and faster, and she's going slower and flighting it more, and it's working. So credit to her, given that Australian conditions normally don't suit spinners, but they suit hers.
I think I read War and Peace twice during one of her deliveries, actually. And now the other big story of the day, of course, was Australia earlier on having a 5-wicket victory over Sri Lanka, but boy, did things look grim in the chase there. They lost 3 wickets for 10 runs early on. What is going on with Australia?
Yeah, things aren't quite working, but the most important thing from an Australian perspective is that they got the victory. It was a gritty, determined victory. If it wasn't for Rachel Haynes and Meg Lanning building that partnership, it would have been interesting to see what the rest of the middle order would have done. Again, there was some chances. Rachel Haynes was a little bit lucky. She was put down. Fielding was the issue for Sri Lanka if they had taken their chances. There was they went for a review as well. It was not out, and then they lost their review, and then Meg Lanning actually hit it into the keeper's gloves. Couldn't take the review. So little things like that make a big difference. We're starting to see that with players coming or teams coming into this Women's T20 World Cup. The DRS is being used for the first time. We're under lights, you know, which is all really different for a lot of teams. They haven't experienced that because women's cricket used to be played as the earlier game. You come and watch that, and then you can watch the men's game. So the women are on their own platform, and with that come with a couple of different conditions.
Yeah, and you mentioned the condition, the crowd, everything else. More than 5,000, I think 5,280, I think it was, people here tonight. So another fantastic crowd. Anything else stood out for you here over at the Wacker?
Well, it was great to see a bit of pace and bounce. We saw Sophie Devine, continue to do what she normally does for New Zealand, steady the innings and then go big at the end. Chamari Adapatu. Oh, if only Sri Lanka could have 1 or 2 more of her, clone her, they would be a force to be reckoned with, because she is certainly an exceptional hitter. It's the swing of the bat. I think one of the sixes that she hit against Delisa Cummins today was extraordinary. So please go and watch it. But she is an exciting factor. That, you know, England lost to South Africa. So we've always been talking about this T20 World Cup. It was going to be the closest ever. We were all hoping, we were all expecting. it's certainly looking to be the case.
Yeah, the two finalists of the last Women's T20 World Cup, England and Australia, both suffering losses in their home games. Of course, we saw Thailand as well. It was great to see Thailand come in, and they were impressive too.
Oh, I love Thailand. I just want to cuddle them, give them kisses. I want everyone to see how they play the game. They're so respectful of the opposition, of the match officials. They have certain traditions and cultures that they keep. And, you know, I've noticed everyone that comes across them, they just bring a smile out of all of us, and it's so nice to see. And they're an excellent fielding side. Do not run on their arm. They come from a softball background, and you can certainly see that they move well, anticipate well, and their arms are like rockets.
Now the competition moves into the next phase, where the teams all head off back to the other side of the country, over to Melbourne and Canberra. Might just mention two games very quickly. Australia, well, they face Bangladesh next. Every game for Australia now, it feels really nervy, doesn't it? And then Bangladesh is a bit of an unknown for them.
Yeah, it's an unknown. Haven't played against them, so they'll come up against some really strong spinners. I guess Australia are used to Manica conditions, so they're hoping for pace and bounce, not a turning wicket, because that won't help them. But I would imagine that Australia are now going to take some confidence out of that win, and they'll just keep building nicely.
And speaking of big games, India next up. They've got New Zealand, and that group is fascinating, with Australia losing that first match. Oh, that's a biggie.
It's a massive game, because if India win that, they basically assure themselves of a semi-final position. If New Zealand win, well, then it just opens up that Group A. So you get a sense that hopefully Smriti Mandhana will come back in. The middle order of the Indian side fired today. Veda Krishnamurti, she scored some runs, who hasn't scored runs for quite a while down there. Dipti Sharma's coming good. She obviously played well against Australia. So they've got other people contributing, instead of Smriti Mandhana and Harmanpreet Kaur. That's a good thing for India. I think they're building nicely. I think they might just get across the line against New Zealand.
Ooh, another bold prediction there from Lisa Sthalekar. So we are also going to head off to the other side of the country. Long flight. So we'll go and get a good night's sleep. But make sure you stay up to date with everything that's happening here on Centerstage throughout it. I am loving this tournament almost as much as Lisa loves Thailand.